Hello and welcome everyone to our second season of the Sherpa Success Navigator series, where we take insights from our latest Sherpa 2025 State of HR Industry report and speak with top talent, tech, and business leaders on how they can improve HR's business and talent impact in 2025-26. Today we have with us Harjeet Khanduja, SVP HR at Reliance Jio. Welcome, Harjeet. It's great to have you with us.
Thank you, Dhruv. Thank you for having me here.
Great to have you with us, Harjeet. For our listeners out there, our conversation today is going to revolve around a key gap that the report identified, and which is around AI readiness and the broken AI implementation and adoption journey. And through Harjeet, we'll be delving into actionable strategies and looking at some of the impediments that HR can overcome along with business at large to ensure AI readiness translates to business impact. So, with that, Harjeet, let me delve straight into my first question. And this goes back to the gap that I was talking around AI readiness, where the report noted change readiness is fairly high among HR leaders, where around 86% across the region say that they are change ready, but only 24% say that they are AI ready right now. If you had to look from a cultural standpoint, so what are some of the critical determinants of creating a culture of AI readiness? And how do you ensure that it's not just a one off initiative, but a larger long term sustained effort in tweaking the very DNA of the company?
Thank you, Dhruv. Thanks for the question. Uh, Look, when we look at this AI implementation, it is very similar to any change which you are doing. And at the beginning of that change, um, like when CNG was getting implemented in India. So till the time people had not used CNG, people were
Right.
using their imagination. They were not
Right.
able to believe that how can CNG be safe? You're going to put gas in my vehicle. What will gas blow up? Because people had heard of LPG cylinders blowing up. And it took a lot of convincing that this is safe. But how people believe? People believe when they use it. The problem with AI is that it is a long distance relationship. Most of the HR people have not used it in an organization setting.
Right.
That this is how you can embed it in your day to day working. So, right now, a lot is happening on imagination. And when imagination takes over, it can take you to the places you have never imagined of. And like I said, if you are in a long distance relationship, you can't change DNA. For changing DNA, you have to come closer. Now, it is not that organizations are not making effort. Uh, Most of the organizations have implemented something called, say, Copilot.
Right. Right.
Now, what happens is Copilot comes along with the suite which the companies have been using, and that is a fairly good AI tool. Before that, Llama was available for free. Now, companies don't want to invest right away because they don't have that trust. So, what is happening is you're getting a tool, and when you are comparing that to a tool which is available in the open market, anyone who is using GPT or Gemini or Perplexity, that too for free, you ask that okay, in Copilot, are you getting the same functionalities? You'll
Right.
find I'm not getting the same level of comfort or same level of output because these are multiple tools created by different engines, and it is not that there are three tools only. Right now there are 300 tools for different purposes. So which tool to use, where to use, and whether that set is available with you, that is creating a problem. So,
Right.
till the time that is fixed, fixing the culture uh, doesn't make much of a difference.
Right. I think you raised a couple of very key points. I think, especially, I think I'll first start with how you define it as a long distance, interaction with AI, because, and I think the demand that stems from that is for HR leaders to really get close to uh, AI from that standpoint. And a couple of other points that you raised around how user friendly is the enterprise level AI solutions right now, if you compare it to a GPT or a Perplexity or any of those other examples. And thirdly, is the aspect of trust that you raised right at the beginning. A lot of similar challenges when we looked at readiness, when we looked at culture. Um, the report also identified some of these challenges, and I like to come to these challenges next. How do you really overcome these big roadblocks in the AI adoption journey? Because HR cannot do it individually. It has to work with leaders. It has to work with employees to overcome those trust issues, to ensure leadership is also familiar and using AI, because it's becoming a need of the hour. What are some practical levers that HR can pull to ensure some of these barriers can be overcome, as you have rightly identified?
Look, I believe AI adoption is uh, less a factor of technology or even leadership mindset.
Okay.
It is more of a factor of unit economics. Whether I am able to do whatever I am doing more efficiently and more effectively.
Right.
That is what businesses are looking at.
Right.
Now, you're giving me a tool, mm, like, say, a screening tool. Now, one is how much you are giving it to me for. If you say 11 rupees per screening, that is too costly.
Right.
If I put a person, uh, I can do better. So that unit economics has to work. And second is, look, the rationale which is given that if you use this tool can talk to you in the evening in the same energy, and all the other factors, those are given. What if, now this what if is the real question. If it is making type 2 mistakes, can I allow this tool to make mistakes on my behalf? That surety is not there, because all the AI companies are talking about, look, 10% hallucination is there. Now, which 10% is hallucination and which 10% is going to take you to a legal battle? That is not clear.
Right.
Second important piece is there is a lot of volatility in the market. Now, uh, you say, okay, Claude is good for copywriting. Now, should HR people use Claude? Oh, Perplexity is good for analysis. So, should I use Perplexity? Oh, Nano Banana is good for creating images. So, should I use Nano Banana for creating images? And will there be any copyright issues? Oh, you can use 11 labs. Every day, there is a new tool coming up with enhanced capabilities. So, at this time, suppose I buy one tool and tomorrow there is something better, then I am stuck. So, most of the people are sitting on the fence and waiting for this entire market to mature.
Right.
That when there is a stable tool, and that is what people are doing, it is not a roadblock. Actually, suppose you buy iPhone 17 today and tomorrow iPhone 18 is launched. Will you feel cheated or not? And they say, okay, you bought iPhone 17 for X price. Tomorrow it is X minus 50,000 rupees. Will I get my 50,000 back? So how long I am enjoying that premium? Right now, in AI world, nobody is guaranteeing that if you are investing, how long will you be able to enjoy that edge? Maybe tomorrow something new will come up which is better and which is cheaper. So instead of giving me a competitive advantage, it is creating, uh, it is going to put me in a fix. And that is why a lot of people are waiting and people are experimenting cautiously.
Right.
People are very hopeful. I don't think leadership mindset is a issue. Leadership is well prepared. They are watching the market, and wherever they are getting the opportunity, uh, they are trying to leverage and use. And technology, the pace of technology change is something which I would say is a problem right now. Till the time that ambiguity is there, decisions will
Right.
come slow.
Right. Right. I agree with you. Like perhaps a way of not looking at these challenges as roadblocks, but it's necessary to look at it as a natural process of evolution. Because as you said, right now the market is not yet mature enough where there are just a couple of solutions, but there are a lot of solutions in front of HR leaders to choose from, and that adds to the internal complexity and the internal adoption aspects. My next question to you, Harjeet, is of course, given all of these external factors that you mentioned and the slight wait and watch approach that businesses are following, uh, at the same time, we are seeing a lot of investments going towards AI-powered HR solutions. These are end-to-end, covering almost all stages of the employee life cycle. Um, are there capabilities and HR self the way HR teams are structured right now that also needs a relook when it comes to being more AI ready and when it comes to really leading AI adoption? Do you think there's a gap there as well? Because what we found was AI implementation capabilities and balancing AI with human touch. A lot of these capabilities are not very business relevant for HR leaders right now. So, do you see this gap also emerging in India based on some what you're seeing around you? And is there a need for HR themselves to also look at how do they gain some of these implementation capabilities?
Look, Um, if you see the way AI is, AI implementation is very complex,
Right,
but AI usage is at the same time very simple. How you leverage AI, how much time, Dhruv, if I may ask, you would have taken to learn ChatGPT?
right,
In 1 month, they had a huge number of users uh, which are like unthinkable for a traditional company. The reason of adoption was that it was simple. You ask anything in a natural language and it answers you. Now, creating such a tool is easier? No, it is not easier. The time they have taken and the kind of complexity they have gone through, uh, that is that is enormous. But for user, it is very simple. Um, Look, earlier we had, say, tools called Canva, and before Canva there were photo editors. Now
right,
using a photo editor was difficult. Using Canva is easier, and now using Nano Banana is even easier. So when you talk about skills and competencies, so the skill which was required in creating an image, that skill is no longer required. The kind of work people were doing earlier, which people considered as a skill, that skill is no more a skill because AI has taken over that space. Now the skill has changed. Skill is what is that you want for your business? Are you able to understand that and are you able to convey that to the model?
Right.
And it is not difficult, it is simple. So, most of the AI solutions which are coming are simple, and going forward, they are going to be even simpler. Now, what happens with the skills and competencies is, um, so suppose you ask somebody to do an analysis. What people do is load that entire Excel sheet into a model and say, please do analysis for me. When that analysis comes out, whether that analysis has been done correctly or not, that is a question mark. And are you able to see whether that has been done properly or not in the
Right.
context in which you want? Many a times numbers are jumbled up. So I had a friend who was doing similar kind of analysis. So he wanted to understand that what kind of tests doctors prescribe. So there was huge data set which was available. So he feeded that data set. He asked one of his interns to feed that data set. Intern, as usual, feeded it on a GPT. The output came. The first test was BP, and he said, "Why will any doctor prescribe BP?" Nothing is, BP was not being prescribed by doctors, but the data which was there, in that data, for every patient or for everyone, BP was taken. So the frequency of BP was higher, so BP was coming at the top. And then he asked, okay, tell me what is the cost of each test. So the guy wrote uh, 3000 rupees for BP. Now, who takes 3000 rupees for BP? This is natural intelligence. Artificial intelligence said 3000 rupees for a BP. So the question is, there are a lot of things which AI will be able to do today, and tomorrow it is going to do those things better. Whether you are able to manage that properly or not, that is the skill. People talk about, oh, prompt engineering is very important. You have to create an image. Say you have to create a video through View. You ask ChatGPT to create a prompt for that. ChatGPT will create a prompt for that, and you can create a video. Now, thing is, whatever prompt has been created, are you able to see it is asking for what I wanted?
Right.
So that becomes a skill, that whether you are able to align the tool to your business requirements or not, or to the requirements of your customers or not.
Right.
It
So
was a
from
long answer.
Yeah, no, but I get your point where uh, while the use at the end of the day is easy, there's a lot. I think there are two strands of thought that emerge from your response. One is that while use is simple, adoption is where there is complexity. Firstly, and secondly, the skills and capabilities should be more tuned on driving value through AI. I think that's where HR leaders, where business leaders across functions really need to focus on. Um, coming to the adoption journey, Harjeet, I understand the wait and watch approach. Sorry, that a lot of companies are seeing because perhaps initially there was a great impetus of investments, and but now it's slowly tempering where people want to see where are the returns coming from. Because even in our report, I think what we found was value realization and ROI through AI investments are right now the biggest criteria that not just HR leaders but also HR tech leaders are raising, that that's what they need to solve for. So but at the same time, there is also resistance to change. There is also a resistance to adoption that we identified during the implementation stage, which is playing a big role. What is the change management process, or how are you looking at change transformation differently, um, to sort of ensure that, okay, while we are waiting for AI to reap its results, at least our internal structures and our internal roadblocks on our internal change resistance is sort of tackled, so that we can ensure that our investments are leading to value realization. Are there your thoughts on that?
Look, right now, whosoever is buying it, uh, what has happened is AI came and everyone's eyes uh, like lit up that AI is going to do something for business. And then there were certain news items which came in the newspaper that so many people reduced because of AI implementation. When you go deep into those news items, what you realize is that people did not implement those AI models and reduced headcount. They were looking at rationalization, and AI gave them a reason. So they used AI as a scapegoat for that. Okay, I want to do rationalization and I will pitch in front of customers that I have done AI and I have reduced so many people.
Right.
That is not the right approach, and that has created a fear psychosis. Now, uh, the people who are supposed to adopt AI and make sure that AI gives you returns, because it is a tool.
Right.
So, when you buy a bicycle or a motorcycle, it makes you faster. It is not taking your legs away, or it
Right.
is not replacing you. Same way, AI is a tool. It is not taking your mind away or your job away, or uh, it is not replacing you. Now, thing is, do you know how to use it? If I am scared of it, if I am scared of driving a bike, that oh, uh, it is going to do something bad with me, you are not going to touch it.
Right.
Same thing is happening in the change management exercise because of some irresponsible media. I don't know whose fault was it. Was it companies or was it media or whatever it was? But that panic got created, and after that, there is uh, lot of people talking in terms of fear, and I understand fear is good for preparing people to learn. But many a times there was a dialogue ना, डर को इतना भी मत बढ़ाओ कि डर लगना ही बंद हो जाए.
Right.
So it is AI has gone in that route. So it will take time to settle down, and people are using AI in their day-to-day life. If they have a like if AI, say, OpenAI has a base of say 700 million users. That means 700 million users are using artificial intelligence on a daily basis. Same way Google has implemented. Now Google is affecting even more people without them realizing that they are using AI. So
Right.
uh, people are going to adopt. People are going to understand, oh, this is something which is helping me do better. Now in organization setting, um, it will seep in slowly. It will seep in slowly when there is a trust, uh, and there is a skill set which is developed, and uh, people are no more seeing it as an enemy.
Right.
So
Right.
that will happen. That will happen on its own, and organizations will have to make an effort, uh, that people start trusting, because when people start seeing your motive behind implementing AI, is it to increase efficiency and effectiveness on the job, or is it to replace me? The moment uh, there is a doubt in the mind of people, then the implementation becomes uh, harder.
Right. Right. I think exactly. I think your last sentence sort of captured. I mean, the unique paradox. I mean, it's a fine line, right? Like whether AI is helping me be more productive or is it going to replace me? I think that's where, I mean, the two sides of how do you respond to this new technology really emerges from. Um, and that actually brings me to a question that that's emerged out of what you've been saying is this entire question of productivity, right? And what is the role that HR leaders need to play today? I mean, AI is going to become more mainstream, and productivity with AI agents also entering the picture. I mean, productivity is going to shift. It's going to evolve. How should HR leaders ensure that that implementation is geared towards improving productivity rather than it creating, as you say, that fear psychosis and that playing a major role? What role do you see HR leaders playing in this entire shift?
Look, if I tell you uh, that I let me tell you a story. There was a company called Databricks. Its CEO came on the dais, and it said to a CEO of a company that currently you have all the data uh, in your servers. I'm going to put Databricks on top of it. What you can do is you can ask uh, uh, anything to this engine. So he wrote in a natural language, what are the areas of improvement on the revenue side? So the AI engine analyzed the revenue data and said, you have a revenue problem in the south, and in south, these are the four areas where you are struggling. And in these four areas, you are struggling because in the performance appraisal, so I got this data from performance appraisal. Your managers say in one area the market is tough, in the second area uh, people are not there, in the third area. So what it did was there was a natural language query from the CEO. It picked up data from multiple systems and created a narrative looking at data which you will, if you ask anyone to compile that data for you, it will take ages for making a decision. That decision making becomes quicker.
Right.
Now, if you integrate all these things together and give it to a CEO for making a decision, you can see how much competitive advantage this gives to your leadership and to your organization. HR is not a silo that HR will do something. Thing is, there is a lot of data which is getting generated, uh, business data, people related business data, which is getting generated every day. How you are leveraging that data in context of the other business data where problems are there, so that you can identify and interpret those problems in the right context. Now, this is the paradigm on which the AI was supposed to move forward. That how your companies are going to be better in decision making, in building bigger businesses, in serving your customers better, in creating experience for your customers, somebody actually moved them towards that, okay, these are for creating efficiency. That narrative needs to be corrected, and HR can play a big role in correcting that narrative. So that is what I feel is HR should be doing. And if you would have seen the recent war which happened, there was one statement. You see how they handled communication this time. There was a bench, which was a diverse bench, and in that bench, they were saying that whatever we are doing is precise, measured, and non escalatory. That kind of precise, measured, and non escalatory communication has to be adopted by the companies if they are seriously thinking about AI. And they should be seriously thinking about AI because uh, AI can give lot of competitive advantage to the organizations to win in the marketplace.
Right. Great. I think again this goes back to our change management aspect and the transformation aspect, where uh, flipping the narrative of was efficiency versus productivity and results, end results. I think that's definitely a key aspect. And as you said, it's not just about HR in a silo, but rather how people data across the business can be really used to make the right decisions and give businesses that competitive advantage. My last question to you, Harjeet, is, looking ahead, if you had to, give us some projections of the coming year, the coming 12 months, what are some aspects, what are some aspects in the entire AI readiness journey that you see improving? And what are some aspects where HR leaders might need to pay closer attention to, otherwise might become big challenges down the lane? So two things: what is a good thing that might happen, and secondly, what is a pitfall that HR leaders need to be wary of?
One thing I would say is there are a lot of good things which are happening. And when I look at various aspects, um, uh, the way people are using AI, it is going to create a lot of problems for organizations. And that will be the first adoption case. Like uh, your candidates are using AI to look better. Now, whether they fit into your organization, till now, people have perfected the way they are going to test, they are going to interview, they are going to screen. Uh, it is going to be much more challenging. So, avoiding AI is not going to help to catch AI generated profiles and to catch AI generated better looking aspects. Like whatever we are doing right now, you can put a Hagen profile and type whatever chat GPT says. Then with our faces there, uh, it can it can say the same thing.
Right.
So those kind of things are going to evolve. And if those things are evolving, how are you going to get the right people who can run your business? So now there will be tools, there will be partners. The good part is a lot of partners are going to step up. That is what my hunch is. And they are going to embed uh, AI solutions in their HR systems, which they are offering. And that is going to slowly transform the HR space. Uh, Unit economics have to make sense, of course. On the HR side or on the business side, people generally, when right now, if you start discussing anyone about AI, they expect miracles to happen. That okay, oh, if we put AI, imagination comes into picture, and everything will happen through AI.
Right.
Look, it is a tool, and we are taking extremes. Either this is not good, we don't want AI, or everything will be done by AI. Reality is in the middle.
Right.
And if you're expecting, look, it is a probability tool. Right now, whether Dhruv is Dhruv and whether I was having this conversation with Dhruv, if later I want to know, then I can figure out using a AI tool that whether it was actually Dhruv from People Matters or somebody scammed me.
Right.
I can do that, but it will give me a probability that 80% is was Dhruv. It will be very difficult to say 100% it was Dhruv. Now you have to make a decision whether 80% is a good enough confidence for doing that. Actually, it is other way around. If you are between 50% to 80%, then chances you are Dhruv. If you are above 80%, then somebody has taken your photograph and done it. And if it is less than 40%, then somebody has used a bad AI tool.
Right. Right.
So this whole thing works on probabilities, and when you are dealing with probability, you can't expect miracles. It is going to give you distilled data, and you have to put your mind to it. What people are doing is they're shutting down their minds and they're showing thinking that everything will be done by AI. That is not the case. And that is not we should expect from AI.
Right. Right. I love this answer, Ajit, because it highlights very critical, like a very critical shift that goes into the entire decision making process, and how there needs to be a shift in how people just don't take the data or take inferences that AI is giving them, but actually have their unique context, have the context of applying their skills and making that right decision based on whatever inferences that they're getting. And from what I understand, that's again a journey that companies and leaders will get better at as adoption increases and as AI becomes more mainstream than what it is right now.
Yep.
Great. Any closing remarks before I end this conversation, Harjeet?
Uh, there used to be a trend. People used to buy Mercedes, and when they have to go out, they will go out in uh, their Maruti 800, saying that uh, roads are not good, so I will use Maruti 800. But I have Mercedes. So don't do that with AI.
Right, right, right. That's again a great lesson, and I think for our listeners listening to this conversation, there are a lot of nuggets shared across this entire conversation that can be used not just in your own personal use of AI, but also when you look at an enterprise wide adoption in the coming year. So thank you, Harjeet, for joining us. It was a pleasure speaking with you. And for our listeners out there, stay tuned for more episodes as we cover different insights from the Sherpa report through some of our conversations. And you'll find the link to download the report wherever you're watching this episode. Thank you. Thank you, Ajit.
Thank you, Dhruv. Thanks for having me here.